edge of the universe, 400 men and women are probing the immeasurable blackness of space. Their leaders are an Earthman with no fear and a stranger with no heart. Travel beyond our time and solar system, into new galaxies, into worlds beyond your dreams. Star Trek, every week, in color.
Oh, hey there. Welcome to Serious Star Trek. It's Tuesday. It's 3 p.m. Pacific Earth time. So it must be time to talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, Star whatever, anything. If it's got stars in it, we want to talk. We can talk about Star Search if you want. And who are we going to talk about it with? Well, we've got one of your hosts here right now, and one is on his way. So let's welcome and bring in your captain and my captain. It's Captain of Fun. He's Captain Fun. He's Larry Young. Hey, Larry.
Dan Tron, how are you?
Good. What's happening, buddy?
I'm doing some stuff on my office bathroom and turning it into like a steampunk paradise. So I got a cool pith helmet. And I was like, hey, I'm wearing Patrick Stewart's shirt from that first, what is it, season 4, I think. And like Patrick Stewart, he probably was in a British Zulu movie of some kind. So
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. That's good in your bathroom for when you have to take a piss. Totally right.
Yeah, it looks like Captain Zemo's. I don't know, what do you call it? A bathroom in a submarine. The head, right?
Head.
Yeah,
the head. Yeah, the head.
I don't know. I'll never get used to that. That means something different in my neighborhood.
Well, speaking of submarines, well, welcome to the all new Jeffries tube set. Very excited about this one.
Yeah. Dave Porter's like, hey, upgraded to wireless earbuds. Yeah, I got those for my birthday. Because I think I was complaining about, I was taking my kid to school and I was like, yeah, God damn it, I can't wear my rank pips because it interferes with the microphone. And he just heard, because he's the best son ever, he heard, oh, daddy needs like real modern earbuds. And so he told my wife, and I got them for my birthday. It was awesome.
I like them, but I'm not sure audio-wise if they're better or worse. They recommend I use wireless too, but like I've been considering making the move to wired. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like how it looks. Some wires getting in front of my awesome uniform. Vanity, my name is Captain Fun.
Hey, Chris Sagasog is out there watching us. We got we got 6 folks beaming in on subspace. So let's talk about sci-fi and Star Trek, Larry. What's on your Star Trek radar? Because I think everything's kind of cool in the Star Trek universe right now.
Yeah, just good old Lower Decks is plugging away. I don't like Lower Decks. I love it actually. But I don't feel like it's a must watch. And so we watch it when my kid has time. He's playing football now. So the 2 cool things that happened were not Star Trek related since last we spoke. But Doctor Who finished up with the 13th Doctor. I don't know if you follow that at all, but that was
no,
cool.
I don't.
So it's just cool. She finished up. The 13th Doctor is done. She regenerated into the actor who played the 10th Doctor, although this is technically the 14th Doctor. He's not playing the same guy. He's not playing the 10th Doctor a little further down on the time stream. There's this thing that they threw into Doctor Who to try to explain how they were getting the old actors from the old days to be in the roles that they were in. And there was this cool throwaway line that in the future you'll start seeing a lot of old familiar faces on new people. And so things like the 4th Doctor would show up as, a curator of a museum. But they'd ask him his name. He's like, I'm the curator. And like he played it like, you know who I am. I'm the fucking 4th Doctor. I just can't tell you. So a lot of that's going on, and it's built up into, wow, the 14th Doctor is actually going to be the 10th Doctor, kind of. Anyway, so it's all next season. He's going to have 3 big movies, and that's his season. And then they have a 15th Doctor that he's generating. Anyway, that's cool.
Hey, speaking of doctors, I think we got the 16th Doctor right here. Let's welcome him right now. Dr. John E. Price, PhD. Welcome back, Johnny.
Lucky number 16.
Hey, John.
What's up?
Are you a Whovian or a doctor, whatever they call those?
No. I watch sports.
American football, not British, not the.
Yes. I watch the football with your hands. Thank you. I'll be here all day.
So we're just
no, I do not. I've never watched Doctor Who. I know nothing about it other than they wear trench coats for some reason, and people say it's good, and that's all I know about it.
I would hate it because it's very British.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. The British.
That's a show that's steeped in that.
Yeah, I'm not.
Anyway, we're trying to think of something in Star Trek. I didn't. Lower Decks really is not going on. So Doctor Who finished up for the 13th Doctor, and then you must have heard about James Gunn, right? He's the new Kevin Feige for DC.
Is he?
Yeah, this just happened.
Okay.
About an hour and a half ago.
Okay, I definitely have not heard that. That's awesome.
Announced him and he's got a guy he works with. They're not really partners, but Peter Safran. He worked out with him on Peacemaker and Suicide Squad and stuff like that.
So I guess he's not doing any more Guardians of the Galaxy.
Dude, no, but isn't this great? Marvel created their own. Disney created their own villain because they're like, 10 years ago you wrote somebody was a naughty poo-poo head on Twitter, and then all of that happened. You guys are up to date on that, right? They kicked him out.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm not getting into Guardians 3 without him. Fuck you guys. I'll break my and then they backed down. They were like, oh well, we enjoyed how he handled that. That's cool. We've made our peace. We just did the math real quick and found out that this one guy personally made us $3 billion.
Yeah.
So maybe we kind of jumped the gun on that one.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, cool, but you don't have to do the Suicide Squad thing. And that was really well received. And then they were like, hey, you get how the sausage is made. Why don't you come do that for us? And finally, as a fan or a guy who just even watches Hollywood, the adults have entered the room, and now it's a fight. It's going to be great.
So what do you think he's going to do? Do you think he's going to make it like, I mean, he's clearly not going to be like Zack Snyder. Everything is gray and terrible, right? It's going to be all colorful. It's going to be all ironic and full of pop music, right? Is this what we're thinking?
Well, the thing about
Superman and Taylor Swift. Is that what we're doing?
James Gunn, though, man.
I don't know. I'm asking.
But you know his career, right? He understands like how to change tone in a genre thing. Like he did Peacemaker, Blood and Guts, right? He did what was that one with Rainn Wilson and the former Elliot Page? It was called Super. I think. Yeah. That was, eyes popping and stuff. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
But he also did the 2 Scooby-Doo movies, right? So he understands. Yeah. So he understands how to work the genre with different tones.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the best thing ever. And if I was Disney, I would cry because I'm sure Disney looks at money as zero sum. Like they want all the money and they can't have it now because James Gunn is going to take half.
Yeah. Disney, not fan of Keynesian economics. They're very much, we want all the gold.
But you know how Feige was like, they're doing werewolf things now. Like after like the first Thor, did you ever think that we would get to this place?
No.
Where it's like, yeah. So James Gunn is just going to go, yeah, I'm doing that, and I'm not waiting 10 years. And so it's what Warner Brothers wanted to do, but didn't understand how to do it.
Mm.
So if you haven't seen Black Adam, have you? But they introduced the Justice Society. It's 5 extra characters, and they don't bother saying a word about where they came from or what they're doing. They just show up. Pierce Brosnan takes his helmet off and goes, "We're the Justice Society. We fucking do cool shit for the good guys." And everybody goes, "Okay, that's all I needed." And then they keep going with the movie. It's amazing. So I got a feeling James Gunn is going to be like, "Okay, you guys know who Batman is, you know who Superman is. Let me introduce you to my friend Ambush Bug." You know,
there might be more of that. I thought tonally, Peacemaker was one of the best of the recent superhero things because it wasn't. While it was plenty jokey and played for laughs, there was a really serious, like melancholy undertone themes to the whole thing that made it really different, made it really stick out from the rest of that stuff. And then the special effects and everything else just made it feel like one of the best I've seen. I would actually have to say that special effects wise, probably better than She-Hulk in a sense that like everything felt like there in Peacemaker. Maybe it wasn't quite as ambitious in the stunts they're pulling off or whatever, but it all felt like completely real.
Yeah, I agree.
So my question for you guys, the comic book guys, is like, and you kind of already alluded to this, like he's not gonna just like redo Superman and Batman, right?
No,
he's gonna bring in like, so what are some DC characters that you want him to bring in? And pretend like I know what you're talking about. Go.
Oh, well, no, I didn't see Suicide Squad where he already brought in some really goofy characters, but I could see Detective Chimp maybe making an appearance. I could see definitely more. He seems to be more of a Silver Age influenced guy, and there's plenty of stuff that we haven't seen from the Justice League. There's lots of wacky, cool Justice. He used Starro already, right?
Yeah.
Which was like, that's Justice League #1 cover of First Justice League, right? Is Starro. So you can kind of see where his head's at there. Giant starfish, giant controlling starfish. Yeah. So like Chemo, the Metal Men.
So is he?
Ones out
do you
there
think he's gonna just build off of the Suicide Squad movie and like the Peace? Do you think he's gonna build off of those movies and just whether it's a whole new thing or whether it's just tonally or not? Like, do you think he's gonna go that direction?
Here's what I think. First, I have to say, please give me a fucking Commandy movie, and I'll shut up forever.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But second, I think it's pretty obvious what they're gonna do. They just had Black Adam starring The Rock, which is basically if Thanos was a good guy, and so they're just gonna go with everybody's gonna be teaming up against Black Adam until you get to a big Superman fight. Because Superman and Black Adam are basically the same character, but one is, fueled by magic, which is the other's only vulnerability. So that's why everybody's crazy and wants to see a Henry Cavill punching The Rock, and it's not because it's going to be a good fight to watch, but
it's a lot of meat.
Thematically, it's amazing. It's like it's what's going on in the world. There's like everybody, nobody wants to see the middle part and get along and like, let's not destroy the earth. Let's have this battle outside the atmosphere so we don't destroy, Australia accidentally. No, you got to have a fight between a guy whose magic is his only weakness and a guy who's fueled by magic. And watch that fist fight for 2 hours while Pierce Brosnan flies around.
If you could be fueled by any specific magic, what would it be?
Well, how are you defining magic?
Well, that's up to the eye of the beholder.
Just take a Green Lantern ring then. Green Lantern ring solves everything. It's fueled by imagination and my complete jackassery. My indomitable will.
That would be the original Alan Scott Green Lantern one, whose only weakness was wood. That's one of my all-time favorites. And then they're like, okay, how can we make this stupider? We're going to go into the Silver Age. Let's make it high tech, but let's make his weakness even dumber and make it the color yellow.
The color yellow.
The color yellow. That's great.
Which they've sort of over the years now they make it almost like a theme in the background. It's more about willpower and whatever, etc. So that brings up right there what they need to get straight. They need to get their fucking Green Lantern straight. Are you kidding me? Like, where's the Green Lantern TV show that's like half on Earth and half in outer space? So half the time it's like Jag because he's a test pilot, right? Or it's like Top Gun or something.
Nice.
So half of it's like that, and then he gets called into crazy stuff to protect the quadrant, and then you bring. That's the beauty of Green Lantern. You get like cops and robbers, and you get the intergalactic stuff. But they need to make him a strong player in the DC universe, because then they can do all that parallax stuff and turn him into a villain and do whatever, and they can have big long story arcs. But you can't do it without establishing a super killer like Hal Jordan or whoever it's got to be. I think it's got to be Hal Jordan.
I agree. I also love John Price forever because most people, when you start talking about that, like, oh, which Green Lantern? I think Guy Gardner's played. Like, we lose normal people immediately and kind of forget that. But John is like, well, this is just an aspect of folklore that I haven't researched yet.
Yeah, no,
I don't have to read it. I can just listen to my two bearded friends babble about that crazy.
Also, I was trying to remember, isn't one of them named John Stewart?
Yes.
And
that's the other one that I could see that they got to do John. They could do a great John Stewart and just make him Green Lantern.
I was trying to think of a joke that isn't very funny, but I'm going to say it anyway. And the punchline is, which came first, John Stewart or Jon Stewart? Like the Daily Show. I said it wasn't funny. All right. I said it wasn't funny. But anyway, that's what I was trying to do.
It's actually a great idea. I would love to see them do a Green Lantern movie and pull Jon Stewart and then make it. I think the one to me that jumps straight into mind who would be great would be like a Jamie Foxx, because you got to have somebody with a personality and who can pull off all the superhero stuff. I think he would be cool. And there's probably a few others. Maybe what's his name is a little old. Stringer Bell. What's that dude's name? Idris Elba.
Oh,
he'll always be Stringer Bell from The Wire to me.
I got you.
Yeah. You mean that captain from Star Trek Beyond, who I can't think of his name.
Oh, and here's the elephant in the DC room, though, guys. Those stupid Flash leftover that's coming out. Like Chris Sagasaki was just saying they actually killed there was gonna be a Green Lantern show on HBO.
The core.
I heard that, and I've been saying since the 90s, like you got to do Green Lantern as a TV show, because they pull it off. You give the breadth of everything.
I can fix that pitch right now. Just do 2 shows. Do Green Lantern in space, and then just call Green Lantern because he's a space cop. You can't fuck that up. You can't. Like Ryan Reynolds' movie is mostly okay when he's doing Green Lantern stuff. So just do that show and just give it to somebody who doesn't even understand. Give it to Kurtzman.
Donald B. Pelisario. That's who. Right.
But then you do the second show, just call it Ferris Aircraft. And then you do all that Cape stuff that you were talking about. And then at the end of the season, the last episode of both ones, they're meeting like New Girl and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Nice.
And then just do another season that's the 2 of them. Do this monster thing. The end.
Yeah, dude, I think also, though, they got great arcs with Hal Jordan turning to the dark side, and then you bring in the new Green Lantern, and then you make him the enemy. You get the right actor in that Hal Jordan. It's pivotal for like a whole arc of movies at DC where, dude, I still cannot believe to this day, I still cannot believe they make a Justice League movie and the villain that they choose is this. Like, I'm a big comic book fan. I'm a big Justice League fan. Who the fuck is Steppenwolf? I have never read a Steppenwolf comic. Nobody cares. I have no idea. It was so generic. Well, they needed to hit us with a dark side or an apocalypse at least and introduce dark side. They did none. They just squandered it on genericness.
What did you guys think of? Because they tried to do Apocalypse in the X-Men movie, right?
Different Apocalypse. Apocalypse, the planet.
Okay.
You're thinking Apocalypse.
I'm trying to participate.
Who looks like Darkseid though, so that's a very easy. That's a very easy.
Yeah, that was a tightrope. I'm more impressed that I followed that now than I was. I was just like, oh yeah, right on, Dan. But no, you had 2 Darkseids and 2 Apocalypses. I actually heard you say Apocalypse the planet correctly, because that's Apocalypse.
I didn't realize it. Just we lost Larry in mid chuckle.
That's a great place to start. Freeze frame. I love it.
Yeah, whatever. They spell it Lips. That's the end of it. Apocalypse, the planet.
Yes.
So I was trying to make a funny joke about that.
It's a good joke.
Didn't work. No,
it's a good joke.
Well, I want Apocalypse. Joke. You know when I want Apocalypse, Larry? I want Apocalypse now.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Hey, can we let's talk about some bad mouth somebody who's not here and won't watch us probably. EJ Fettis was saying that Hawkman's helmet was stupid in Black Adam, and that made me really sad. I thought it was awesome.
EJ, boo.
But did you like Dr. Fate's helmet? Wait a minute. Let's talk helmet game, Larry, because I happen to know you handcrafted your own Dr. Fate helmet, which is far more comics accurate and is all we needed to see in a movie with Doc. All you need is it just look like Dr. Fate. Did they have to go in this? I like the no eyes slits.
Yeah.
But everything else you could just take it to the trash, dude. You're spitting on the original source material. The most important thing about Dr. Fate is his helmet.
But the helmet I think really worked in the movie. And it works for the audience too, because you have to do something to make people not just think, oh, that's dollar store Doctor Strange. His name is even Dr. Fate. Like, how can you get that? Like, they don't, like, your normal person doesn't get like how it's different. So they're like, oh, he's got a helmet just like everybody else in the movie, but his helmet is cool because it's super shiny and it has no eyes. And like for 1 second, I thought, oh, okay. What do you need eyes for when everything is magic? Helmet's probably seeing and acting for him. And then I didn't think about it for the rest of the 2/3 of the movie that I actually was able to see. I was telling Dan, we went to go see it, and the power went off in the movie. Nice. So the end, which is all anybody wanted to see in the first place, we didn't get to catch.
Wait, Larry, who's your commandy casting? Does it have to be some unknown little?
Yeah, some unemployed California waiter who's grown his hair out nice and long and doesn't have tattoos. That's going to be the challenge, because we don't want to put makeup over your tattoos, every time we go shoot. So a long-haired surfer boy, kind of on the thin side, wears cut-off jeans. That's it. That's all you get. I don't want Maori tattoos. No fucking stuff. Pokemon shit from the 90s. Forget it.
I feel like that's another one, though, where it has to be maybe a show, right? Because Commandy, what's the definitive, what's the Commandy? Yeah. What do you do? The origin story and what? Like, I don't know how you do a Commandy movie.
Well, you just, you'd have to Aquaman it, right? Where he comes out of the Command D bunker and finds Ben Boxer and his buddy, the crazy astronauts that have, the solar power and chest things, that, those guys. You find them and they're battling the lizards of Lost Lorraine, or, some Kirby thing like that. The tigers of terrible Tina or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, but I agree with you 100%. That's got to be a TV show, because the whole point of that is he's stranger in a strange land, right? The last boy on Earth. So he's basically future Conan. He's just walking from village to village, and okay, now the animals talk just like Planet of the Apes. Oh shit, these crocodiles talk too. It's like they all talk. Fucking ostriches.
Well, what was
give me that show.
with the Superman suit too. Like he found a Superman, like
That's
Superman's
one of the
outfit.
later ones. He finds Superman, who's got really, he's got a giant white beard, and he's, Superman's aging slower than everybody else because he was born on, February 29th. So he only ages 1 year for every 4.
Oh, I see. That's handy.
Oh, that's how it works.
And that's why he leaps tall buildings in a single bound. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Leap year, I get it.
Well, so I don't think I read Command. I guess I know I haven't read all of Commandy because I don't remember all that. But it seems to me like if they do a Commandy, they're jumping straight to that, right? Like they're tying it into the unit. It's going straight to Superman, old man Superman.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Harrison Ford.
So I've probably pitched this before. Superman. What they need to do is they need to reboot Superman in the same year that Action Comics #1 came out and do it as a period piece, okay? Mm-hmm. And then they need to have Superman, but then they need to have modern day movies with Superman, and it's the same guy, and he's barely older. Like he just ages really slow. So Superman has been around through all these ages, and you can go into the 70s, and you can have a Superman in the 70s, and you can go all the way into the 90s. And the idea being that he's slowly soaking up more solar energy. The older he gets, the more powerful he gets. So the early movies in the 30s, he's leaping. He's leaping tall buildings, right? And he's punching. He's barely strong enough to beat those mechanical robots when the Fleischer robots attack from the 1930s. And then, like, over time, he's just going to become more solar charged. And then you get to today where he's the modern, he's moving planets and whatever else. But you play the longer game. You make him the legacy hero, the way they did in kind of what they did with Cap and they're trying to do with Wonder Woman in DC. I always felt like Superman should be that in the DC universe. And take him back to those Depression roots too. There was like a novel written in that style, like in the Depression era, low powered Superman that was so good. I forgot the name of that. Somebody out there knows it.
What do you think Jimmy Gunn's going to do with Wonder Woman? You think we're going to keep what's her face?
That's the only hit they've got. That and Aquaman, right? Like those two are
the only successful one.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. That's right.
Well, I think they've got those tentpole. Like they got an iconic Wonder Woman. If they want to go with Batfleck, they got a Batman. Mm-hmm. They cannot use the new dude. They've got Cavill. Like you could do something with that. Bring in a Green Lantern, and then you would have the foundations of a really good Justice League. Oh, and Flash. They gotta fix. They gotta fix this Flash situation here. That dude, that outfit never worked. That character I didn't really understand it as the Flash that we know.
What kind of guy do you cast as Green Lantern? Not an actor per se, but like what kind of? Because he's a fighter pilot, right?
Yeah, I mean, ideally you need Sam Shepard from 1980.
So even more badass than a fighter pilot.
Yes.
Yeah.
But boring.
Okay. But that's who Sam Shepard is playing in The Right Stuff, right? You just need Sam Shepard from 1980 to be Hal Jordan.
Yes.
But so who is that now? I don't know. It's not Timothy Chalamet. I
thought this was good for old. Like if he was a little younger, Fillion was a pretty good choice for Hal. Maybe not so much anymore. I always go back to like Josh Brolin when I look for like the middle-aged white guys who have some chops.
Yeah, you can find anybody. Like, man.
Well, is he like a young character? Is he an old character? I know nothing. All I
He's
know
a
is Ryan
square. He's a conservative guy. He's from the military background. He was played as the conservative versus Green Arrow was the hippie in the Green Arrow Green Lantern series. And I would love to see them bring that kind of dynamic in with conservative and liberal stuff today, and have that have actually like a conservative superhero and a liberal one, and have them actually be at odds but still fighting for good together. That could help.
That would be an interesting choice.
I just had to look up who Hangman and Top Gun Maverick was for the Sag said. And that's that actor Glenn Powell. He's fine. Perfect guy for Hal Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it. John Hamm.
No.
John Hamm should be in everything.
He's too busy saving Fletch. As far as I'm concerned, they're late on the next Fletch movie.
How do you see Fletch? Because the only way I see is you have to buy it for like $30.
Yeah, I think the second week in November it's going to streaming on Showtime.
All right, good, because these studios they gotta get this under. The Pandora's already out. All right, the box is already open. Right, you can't be charging full movie ticket prices when it's just going to be on show. Like, get out of here with that nonsense. I want to watch Fletch.
Guys, I've got it. I know what the James Gunn. This is it, Larry. You got this. Is it. Okay. James Gunn needs to do Justice League, but he needs to do the funny Justice League. He needs to do the
Justice League International,
because that's right in his wheelhouse, his style.
Kevin McGuire stuff. Perfect. Yeah, I hope he does something different. That's like, I read a funny interview with him that they asked, like, what's the worst thing about hanging out with fans? He goes, nothing. I love fans. But, I hate people coming up and suggesting songs for the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. Uh-huh. And so the guy was like, okay, what's the one? He goes, fucking Dancing in the Moonlight. You know that song? Everybody's here is out of sight.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that song would never, I'm telling you right now, stop suggesting that song. You're all right. That's a perfect Guardians of the Galaxy song. But
it's perfect.
That's why I'm not putting it in, because all of you people are expecting it. So fuck you. He was like really angry about it. So I got a feeling that's how he feels about Justice League International.
Okay.
It's so obvious. It's like they wrote a James Gunn comic book before he was a thing, right?
Totally. So, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, really.
So it depends. I mean, if he's caught up in a lot of administrative stuff, I think that's why they hired the other guy, though, to do the business stuff. But, if he might just do that, but he could sleepwalk through doing a Justice League International, right?
And then John Hamm is Maxwell Lord, since you don't have, like, what's his face? Robert Culp, maybe, would have been the real, like, who is...
Yeah, I'm with you. John Hamm would be perfect, Maxwell.
But it would be great because that book walked the line in a way. Even She-Hulk didn't. Like, She-Hulk at the time was the funny superhero comic for Marvel, but in DC, in Justice League, I mean, it would go in the same issue, super slapsticky, to like world-ending drama that all worked together. And there was even that arc where like alternate Marvel universe people invaded the Justice League. And like, it would I could just see an amazing movie like that.
Well, the cool thing is because James Gunn has worked with Feige, we might get JLA versus Avengers.
Yeah, true.
It's not going to be Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, but that might happen now, because those guys are like, just make the lawyers make it work. I think that could happen. I don't know.
Yeah, after Marvel fatigue actually manifests for the first time ever, and they're like, "What do we do?" Then it'll happen.
If they want all the money, it's like, well, we are going to get all the money. The bad news is that you only get half of all the money,
right?
And I get the other half. But it is all the money.
Disney steps in and I'm like, no, we get all.
Yeah. I would say I don't think it would ever happen, but then I really didn't think Sony would give up their clutches on Spider-Man to let him into and like that worked for everybody. Everybody made so gobs and gobs of money. Sony still gets to make stupid Venom movies and dumb, awful Spider-Man spin-off movies if they want, or some of the new ones, I guess, which were pretty good. But yeah, the synergy works. If it'll just be like you'll need to have so much fatigue from both. Like the Marvel, you'll have to have hit peak Marvel, which maybe we already have, and they're like, we need something. There's nothing left. It's a crossover event.
We will never hit peak Marvel. It's never going to happen because once we stop caring, my kid and all his friends are like, fucking thank God Young Avengers is here. Like, I was sick of watching Scar for 1 second and She-Hulk. Thank God they figured out World War Hulk so I could get this Young Avengers movie. You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be something.
Yeah, I hold out hope we will get Alpha Flight, and we will get real Dark Phoenix Saga, and we'll get really good adaptations of the X-Men stuff, including all the Shi'ar junk, and bring it all home, man. And Alpha Flight, for fuck's sake, give me Puck, give me Box. Think of how cool Box was. I was just thinking about that, like looking at that character, like he was a handicapped guy with an Iron Man armor, like great, awesome, interesting looking character. The whole Alpha Flight was so great. God damn it.
I think those first 12 issues are the best comics of the last 50 years. They really do.
They're up there.
I'll tell you, I'm sorry.
No, I just want to tell you one quick thing, John, to give you like a perspective on this. Sure. That Justice League International, the funny one we're talking about, the giant achievement of that is Batman is in it. And the other characters are so fucking hilarious that Batman is the comic relief by underselling everything, right?
Yeah, he's the straight man. It's great.
Some crazy shit will happen, and Batman will be like, you know, and then that's like a 3-panel joke, like Batman just trying not to laugh.
And there's the iconic punch moment. There's like all those moments from that Justice League that we deserve to see. Plus, it's just, like I said, underrated as far as like, it wasn't just jokey like She-Hulk was jokey. It walked.
No, it's like a James Gunn movie. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, that's like crazy seriousness in service of idiocy, you know?
Well, I'll tell you, I have no interest in Marvel movies outside of just like passive, hey, it's a movie. Because, you know, I was as invested as I'm going to be through Infinity War, and then Endgame just completely shit the bed. But that's a whole other story. But I and a lot of people in my socioeconomic demographic, grew up with X-Men the animated series, and the X-Men movies were good, not great. And they didn't really follow X-Men the animated series. So if Marvel can somehow just reproduce X-Men the animated series, now that they own X-Men, correct? Yeah. Now that they own it, and they just reproduce that and give us the theme song and give us all, you know, fucking...
I mean, they're clearly moving in that direction. In the Professor X cameos, they played the little, they played the Sting. You know what I mean? They know what you want, John.
Right.
But they haven't.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But they haven't given Larry and me. They haven't given the world the real deal. They haven't given them the real X-Men, the Claremont Byrne X-Men. Like, let's play it out. It's all good.
Not just that. I want to see the Claremont.
I'm sorry.
The Claremont Byrne Savage Land Marvel fanfare shit.
This is all of that stuff.
Give me that movie. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, now that's where I feel good for you, John. You're lucky, dude, because there's a ton of untapped great Marvel material out there. You still get to see a good Fantastic Four movie, good X-Men movies, Secret Wars, all that stuff could come together and be great.
So my point just being that, like, I don't know the names of all the subplots or whatever, but there's one where Wolverine he wakes up in the future and Bishop is there and he's fighting people or whatever, and the Sentinels are cool as fuck, and all that shit. And so my point being that even someone like me who does not care and thinks Endgame was awful, I will get excited if they do a series of X-Men, or when they do a series of X-Men movies. That's my point.
I mean,
agree.
you saw X-Men though. If you like the cartoon was cool, but it was the X-Men. There was no Avengers in that cartoon,
Yes,
right?
that's
There was
correct.
no anything else.
No,
So
it's
like
just the
now we get it in the context of like I really
Right.
want to see it all together and playing out.
You know, John, you must know they are doing that X-Men 97 cartoon though, right? You're
What do you
like,
mean?
just give me the old X-Men. They're doing a new cartoon, producing it now.
Are
It's
they
called
really?
it's called X-Men 97.
That's
And it's
awesome.
in the same art style and everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's all I want.
The one change is Magneto is in charge of the X-Men.
Oh,
I think I got that right. No, but that's the story that Patrick, Professor X, like battles back to like.
I love that show so much.
Dude, even my wife loves that. When yellow wheelchair Patrick Stewart came up in Doctor Strange, she went like she's sitting there and we're all excited, and she actually with the movie she actually went.
That's awesome.
I'm so torn on that because I was a huge
that.
X-Men guy when the cartoons came out, and I was like, did not enjoy that cartoon. I was not on board. I love that Pride of the X-Men pilot we talked about one time, I think, Larry. There was that had just such better animation style and everything else, and I loved a lot that I stayed away. But now I realize that like that's where the X-Men have the most fans from. Is that's it. That cartoon is where they get all their exposure from.
Well, it's not comic books people, like people.
Right.
It's not the comics people.
Yeah.
And Mimi though, like that's why I love that cartoon so much. You're absolutely right. It's kind of a stink pie cartoon. Who cares? I hate cartoons, but I love that my wife, who could not give a shit, that was her into like understanding what I like. Right? She's like, oh, I get it. It's just a soap opera.
Well, that's
say that to comics fans, right? But that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what they got right about that adaptation of it for sure, was turning it into that. And they went just straight to the source material to pull in all their plot lines and stuff. So that was cool. But it was from an era of X-Men that that was just when it just all started to go in a direction that I couldn't handle it.
All the stuff with Nightcrawler and all that stuff. Oh, so good. So good. Anyway.
A lot of fans of that stuff out there. I think that's why, you'll see more influence from that. But I have, like Larry was saying, all that Savage Land stuff, all the Doctor Doom stuff, all the Fantastic Four especially has the opportunity to do like science fiction movies like Fantastic Voyage or that style of old school science fiction movie, but for like the modern day. I think that would be awesome. That's what we need to see.
I mean, let's do it. So, do you guys think Mariner is going to quit the ship and then go be an archaeologist with the fake Vosh?
That's the latest episode of Lower Decks, right? I have not seen that. I'm really sorry. What do you think about that?
Nailed it. Okay.
What do you think about that fake Vosh stuff, though? Like, do you think that's a Tom Paris situation? Because, like,
I think it's them. No, I think it's them just making a self-aware joke that it's like, here's this random hot space archaeologist whose morals are bad. I think they're just in on the joke. I think it's yeah. But Mariner's definitely going to quit because the final episode is this week.
Oh, it is. Oh shit! Yeah. I better watch that then.
Yeah. So we got Dead Boimler. We've got archaeologist, a Mariner. We've got the captain is an awful captain. I would hate working under her.
Well, California class, man.
Newly single Jen. Just saying. Newly single.
What was your guy from your Avatar from the first season there?
Oh, Fletcher.
Yeah, we got to get Fletcher and Jen together.
Back.
Do a whole episode of Fletcher and Jen together. That would be awesome.
I did not like that. The whole. I'm sorry, Dan. We started talking about Star Trek. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right, guys. It's quite all right. I'm excited. I want some new Star Trek that I'm interested in. I wish I could get into Lower Decks, but I haven't even given it a try. I still want to get into. I also really want to get into the Orville but I just don't know when it's going to happen in my busy life.
The Orville, you have to want to watch, if that makes sense. Because there are some duds. It's not the greatest. It's not cinematic production quality the first couple seasons. But once you get involved, it's very much watching a 90s television show, the first couple seasons. And then once you get involved and you start, hey, I care about this character. I care about this episode, then it builds. Then this last season, season 3, was amazing. But you can't start with season 3. I mean, I guess you could.
Yeah. You can totally start with it.
The
season 3 has the best time travel show of any science fiction I've ever seen.
It's good.
The Gordon, redheaded guy, gets trapped in the past, and he's just like, okay, I'm trapped. I guess I have to live a life. And he gets a girlfriend, and a couple kids, and then they're like, oh yeah, no, you can't do that. And
it's against the rules.
They rescue him before any of that happens. So he doesn't remember his life on Earth and a happy family man, but his two best friends do. And that's crazy if you just ended the episode that way. But like the next episode, somebody says something like, oh yeah, I'll have kids someday, or I'll remember that thing. And they cut to, Ed Captain Mercer just going, yeah, that was fucked up what we did to him, wasn't it? And it was powerful.
It's a crazy
that episode was so big that like it had ramifications like an episode or two later.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they really went.
I thought that was
all out. They really went all out with these episodes. There's some really good sci-fi ideas in those episodes, so it's good. Why not? Why not start with 3?
Plus if you understand the context where it's just Seth writing them. Yeah. And that one director directing him. Yeah. So it's like 2 guys putting on a show with like $1 million an episode budget.
Yeah.
So
and they're long episodes. Each one is at least an hour without commercials.
I kind of think that I would just watch season 3.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a fair point.
But wait, Norm Macdonald's not in season 3, right? That's
he is.
Oh, he is. Good.
He's not a prominent character, but he did his voiceover work for season 3. Yeah, because it was in post-production for a long time, and it shows.
That makes sense.
There's a lot of special effects. Yeah. So yeah, and then Lower Decks is fun. I mean, the thing. So again, I was doing the Sagasag walk through a store the other day, right? Just walking up and down the aisles, trying to see what stuff I could
the Sagasag walk. That's awesome.
The Sagasag walk, and I was like, what cool Star Wars stuff am I going to come out with, right? And it just, once again, like, you just look at all these different, like Lightyear. Remember the Buzz Lightyear movie, right?
Yeah.
It was great. It was a great movie. I'm still getting residuals. And there's just like 30 different Lightyear versions of his ship, right? And like each one of those is a split second or half of a scene in the entire movie. But because it's fun and they're cool things that kids want to play with, there's just every single iteration of his ship is on sale. Like you can buy every single one of them, right? All 30 or whatever the fuck it is, right? And it's like, this is what Star Trek merchandising is missing. Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek Lower Decks are fun. They are fun shows. They're about adventure and going on adventure with your friends, right? Who doesn't want to play going on adventure with your friends, right? And this is where assholes like DS9 and Discovery, they get it wrong, because it's like, yeah, those are, DS9 has really good episodes, and Discovery tries to do the whole melodrama thing. But like, you can't play Michael Burnham. Like, if you have a Michael Burnham figurine, what are you going to do? Are you going to dunk it in water and be like, oh, I cried? Like, no, you want to play with your stuff, right? So finally, for the 40th anniversary of Khan, they released little figurines, little Star Trek figurines. It's Khan, it's Spock, and it's Kirk, right? All in the monster maroons. It's fantastic, and it goes along with an Enterprise. It's $40, and it's this big, and you touch it, and the lights go up. And I'm like, yeah, a 4-year-old would play with this. Congratulations, you cracked the code. Maybe it'll actually sell now. Maybe you'll actually sell some merchandising now that you went back to 1982.
Is it like tied into that whatever that Nickelodeon thing?
No. It's the Enterprise. It's all part of the Wrath of Khan 40th anniversary
I
thing.
I just don't get who's doing licensing over there because like
No,
there are no there. Have you guys heard of Funkos? Like there's
Yeah.
a Funko for everything, right? There's like 65 different Deadpool Funkos, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How are there not Star Trek ones? I think there's a Gorn one,
There's
maybe.
a Khan one.
Yeah, there's a couple
I
I
mean,
know.
And that's
But I mean,
about it.
there's. Oh my god!
Like, and why aren't there Legos? Why aren't there Star Trek Legos?
Star Trek Legos make a lot of sense.
I would build Star Trek Legos all day.
Didn't we go through that? I thought we figured that out.
Maybe.
No, that was a function. This is, the internet says this. There are articles about this. It is able to be searched. It's not a secret, but I'm.
Uh-oh. Larry, Big Lego does not want us to know some stuff.
When Larry freezes, it's the best.
Not that. It's Lucasfilm. Big Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
That Lego was going bankrupt, and they were like, somebody got the good idea, like, let's get the Star Wars license. This is our Hail Mary pass. This will either save us or not. And George Lucas is like, great. I love Legos. You can have it for this amount of money. And they're like, fuck, we're going bankrupt, man. We can't do it. What else can we do to throw in the pot? And he goes, all right, well, I'm concerned that, Star Trek, if you get this licensing thing and it works, I'm just funding the Star Trek Lego license that you're going to get. So I'll give you this license for the smaller amount of money you're offering if you don't ever make Star Trek Lego.
God damn George Lucas.
So
I
think, I don't know if that was him or his lawyers or if any of that's true, but it fits available facts, right?
I hate George Lucas so much.
But that's really because otherwise, that there would be. My kid loves Legos. I probably have $4,000 worth of Star Wars Legos. That wouldn't have happened if there were Star Trek sets. I would have been buying Star Trek sets. Yeah. So those guys made the right call for themselves, right? And that's Star Trek. That's not Lucas's problem, right?
Yeah, Lucas not content to merely ruin his own franchise. He's like, let me go and ruin another sci-fi favorite out.
No, he wasn't ruining anything.
No, it's definitely a smart move. But if anything, I think Star Trek fits the aesthetic of Legos more, a little more than Star Wars. It would have been a monster. It would have really been good.
But even just assuming, like, even regardless of all that, right? You look at like Star Wars Legos, and it's like it's not always the Millennium Falcon. A lot of times it's like, oh, here's 4 figurines and a palm tree, and it's Stormtrooper base, whatever it is, right? But again, you can have fun with those, right? You have to have characters and like figurines that you can have fun with, that you can play with, if you will, right? Who in modern Star Trek are you going to play with? What characters can you have fun with?
But that's the beauty. You just get a crew of like shirts, and they don't need to look like anything. It's just like you're playing Star Trek, and you got yellow guys, blue guys.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, I agree with you.
No, but I also get what you're saying. Like, there's nothing to do because that's what Walker and I did. We made a little Vasquez rocks, and took some Ninjago guys and made a Gorn. But like, can you imagine if you could just go buy the City on the Edge of Forever playset, right? Or like, because what we did with all those, when Mandalorian came out, we had all this Tatooine stuff, these things. And so we made a big street. And at one end of it was the Razor Crest. And then there's all these little buildings. And we fucking played with that for a month, right? Just like guys coming in on their speeder bikes, shooting at each other. So where's the Star Trek Spectre of the Gun set, right?
Right.
Where there's like red cardboard around these like cowboy things, and Kirk and Spock shooting at each other. Like,
and I have my issues.
I don't get it.
Iconic play sets. Yeah. They Star Trek's got them.
And I have my issues with Strange New Worlds, but Strange New Worlds at least tries to have fun within the universe, right? Some of those episodes, those are fun episodes, right? There's fun stuff going on, right? There's nothing fun about Discovery and Picard. And you can't sell merchandise about things that aren't fun. Nobody's buying Donnie Darko Legos. Okay? Like, you know.
Yeah, you have to make those yourself.
Yeah, I know. It's
No,
tough.
but you're absolutely right. Imagine the first shot that I can remember from Strange New Worlds is that Captain or Admiral April's shuttlecraft coming in over the snow with Captain Pike on a horse. That's a playset right there.
That's it right there.
Shuttlecraft,
You
guy on a horse,
got the
tree.
hot captain in the bed. You know, it's a whole thing.
That's one for the dads, sure.
That's fun.
But I mean,
guys,
but like you said, you can play with that shit, you know.
But who are those Star Trek? Who is that starship thing, John, that you were talking about? Who is that made for? Is it's not for kids, right?
Well,
it's purely a toy collector's thing.
Well, right. In theory, it's for kids to play with. In reality, it's going to be a bunch of 50-year-old men buying them.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
and hoarding them. Some might play with them, I guess, but like more like collecting and hoarding it.
And this is the economy that Star Trek kind of finds itself in. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because they can make fun stuff, but none of it sells, right? And if it does sell, it goes to a guy who's going to collect it and hoard it, and just like you're saying, right? So in that respect, they have a little weird kind of economic catch-22 going on. But at the same time, Star Wars doesn't care. Star Wars pumps out a billion different types of merchandise every single day. You go to a dollar store, there's Star Wars merchandise. 5 or below, there's Star Wars merchandise. High eBay, there's Star Wars merchandise all over the place, right? So at any level of money you're willing to spend, there is Star Wars merchandise. And that's just not true for Star Trek. It's not.
I think, well, one thing about Star Trek is it's compared to Star Wars, right? Like the toys in particular, all the different Star Wars action figures look different on the for the good guys. It's the bad guys where it's like you could have 100 stormtroopers or whatever, and they're all uniforms. And then, like, just like it started, it's flipped in Star Trek, where you're the establishment in Star Trek. So your guys are the uniform, bland-looking ones, and the cool-looking dudes are the Gorn and the Gatu and the Klingons and the bad guys. So it's a little, I don't know, it's a little flipped on its head, I think, in that way. Not as fun to get a bunch of crew figures that all kind of are wearing the same outfit.
I agree with you, and I would say for the sake of making toys, go the G.I. Joe route, right? Because G.I. Joe, ostensibly, they'll have uniforms, but also they have badass uniforms, right? So it's not just uniforms. They have badass uniforms. They got big guns, and they got big stuff going on, right? So, I don't know.
This guy is what you're talking about? This guy, Captain Action?
Captain Action, yeah.
Anyway, that's it. That's all I got.
Guys, well, that's oh my gosh, we've lost Captain Fun. Maybe for good this time. I don't know.
Captain Action.
Oh my God! Wait a minute. What's that sound? Oh my God! That sound means that we've lost Larry's connection, and so we got to get out of here. We'll be back. Oh wait!
Oh, he's back.
I'm back.
Stand down, red alert.
I was just saying
that.
Yeah, I was just saying Price was right about Captain Action. You bought the doll, and then you bought the outfit, so you could have Captain Batman, Captain America, Lone Ranger, Green Hornet. It was awesome.
I mean, if you bought a Kirk doll, can you imagine the number of outfits you can have? Right? You've got Kirk dressed as a Nazi. You've got Kirk in his green uniform. You've got Kirk with the stripe, with the ripped uniform. You've got Kirk shirtless. You've got Kirk in his utilities. When he's doing with Charlie X, he's putting him over, There's so many options, guys.
The Organian.
Yeah. The flippable torso where he's like in uniform and you fight with him and then it flips and it's ripped.
Yes.
Mid-battle.
I love it.
The Organian one is awesome and fresh in my mind because yesterday somebody asked me what I did and I said I was a dealer in Kivas and Trillium. And they were like, what? And I'm like, dude, never mind. That was me. It's an obscure reference, and I didn't expect anyone to get. I just said it for myself.
You know what amazes me is we've gone through this many episodes, and no one has ever said The Price is Right before, like you did, Larry. So with that, I gotta get. You said Price is Right. You said Price is Right.
He was correct.
But I can't believe we've never gotten that phraseology on the show before, that the price is
I know.
right.
I can't believe I've never heard that before.
We've been doing this for a year. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is crazy. My beard was like nowhere when we started this thing, and now it's happening, man.
I had hair when we started. It's crazy.
Well,
I haven't shaved.
Guys, I got to get us out of here, but I'm going to take us back to a simpler place in time. I've got an older clip that we've seen before, but it's one of my favorites. Man, I went back and looked at all the clips that we've put on this show before at the end, and there's a bunch of gems there. So I want to revisit one today. But I think we're going to be back next week, right? Isn't that right?
It's officially been a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's officially been a year. Yeah.
Man, thanks very much, guys. It's so fun.
So that's pretty cool.
Super fun. Well, next week I'm still working on this thumbnail, guys, and I don't know if this one is in bad taste or not yet. So you tell me if I could get away with Jeffrey's tube for next week. We will see, but it will definitely be next Tuesday, 3 p.m. Earth Pacific time. But where? Oh, where? John E. Price, PhD. Where? Oh, where is it going to be?
Well, there's a series of tubes that connect, and then the information comes down from. It's going to be on the internet, you guys. It's going to be on the internet.
Hello out there. I'm Mr. Sulu of Star Trek. When I'm out in space, I use the Starship Enterprise to get around. When I'm here in Milwaukee, I ride the bus to save time and money. Your $5 weekly pass is a great buy. Your bus tickets, the greatest. Take it from a man who knows. Your Milwaukee County transit system is really out of this world.
Come ride with us on the bus.